As far as the eye can see, it is an expanse of natural beauty, a rich, diverse community with clear blue skies and a nearly constantly shining sun. This is Central Florida, home of hospitality and theme park magic. I'm Crystal Candy, and this is Destination Orange County. Today, we bring you a new perspective on this ever-developing community. We've asked area leaders to share their points of view from one of the best views in all of Central Florida. So join me as we take a trip into the clouds on the wheel at Icon Park, Orlando. The Orange County Convention Center, the crown jewel of the International Drive community and world-renowned for its commitment to excellence and customer service. One of the busiest convention centers in the country, the Center of Hospitality brings in an estimated $3 billion a year to the local economy. Exhibitor Magazine recently named the center the nation's best convention center with more than 2 million feet of exhibit space. Though the meetings industry was devastated by the effects of the pandemic, the team here focused on implementing the highest safety precautions, and they led the way in hosting live conventions and trade shows once again. At the helm, Executive Director Mark Tester, who joined the Orange County Convention Center just a few weeks before the pandemic took hold. For him, it was a unique opportunity to witness the connection between the center and this community. Tester grew up in the convention industry and previously served as director of the Austin Convention Center. And overlooking the Center of Hospitality, 400 feet in the air, here is our conversation with Mark Tester. Welcome to one of the most iconic places to interview one of our leaders in Central Florida, and that is in a capsule in the wheel at Icon Park. Getting different perspectives about this community is so important, and what better way to get that perspective than hundreds of feet in the air over the International Drive community. And I am excited to be joined today by Mark Tester, who is the Executive Director of the Orange County Convention Center, a place that we all know very well, that has been close to our hearts because it is such a part of this community. You got here in a very interesting time, and I remember speaking to you back then. You kind of had to hit the ground running with a year that was full of promise. It was going to be the most profitable year yet. You've been in the industry for a long time, but nobody ever experienced anything like the pandemic and what that did to the meetings industry.
You know, I didn't expect it. I joined the convention center in February of 2020, saw about 5 or 6 events, and then everything stopped. And what it really gave me was an opportunity to see what the convention and the tourism industry meant to this community and what we're made of. And that was great. And the tremendous amount of support that we receive every day from Mayor Demings and our Board of County Commissioners as they helped us navigate through the unprecedented times.
And I remember at the time, because at Orange TV we cover a lot of the trade shows, there were trade shows moving in, and when no one knew what was happening, they had to start moving out. I mean, it was chaos for a while.
It was, and we had an event that was ready to open the next day, and literally the banners started coming down, booths being broken down and moving out, and then everything stopped. Everything stopped for a long period of time, and for us, we were blessed that we were really the first major trade convention center in the country that reopened for business. So our period of time of darkness was significantly shorter than a lot of other facilities.
And what was the secret to that? Was that really all of these individuals working together to make sure that people know that this is a safe place to meet? I know you went above and beyond with the GBAC certification, was that global biorisk, just to make sure that all of this cleanliness, which was so important, especially at that beginning stages where there were no vaccines and we didn't know, The Orange County Convention Center really went above and beyond.
We did really certainly wanted to. That is for certain. And the first thing we did was we met with Florida Department of Health, and they helped us put together our plan, which included the Global Biorisk Advisory Council's GBAC Star accreditation. And then the second thing we did is right after Disney, Universal, and SeaWorld and Icon Park, we presented to the Mayor Deming's Economic Recovery Task Force and told them all the protocols and everything that we had in place, and they gave us the reassurance and the mayor reassurance to start hosting events.
So that's really a testament to the community and the community you got to know right away.
It really is. That is something that probably people that are in our community don't really realize of how much our community relies on the tourism and the convention industry, how much we respect it, and how much we know. Our community understands what we do. And in other communities, they say, well, you host a boat show or an auto show. No, we bring businesses in, major businesses in, corporate events in, that drive significant amount of economic impact to the community. And here, people understand that, and they value what we do.
We know that on any given day, because we work down here, is that there could be an extra 50,000 people here. 50,000 people enjoying the restaurants and shopping, and we want them back.
Seeing people walking up down I Drive, seeing the wheel going that's full of people is something that we'll never take for granted again, for certain. I've been able to go to a number of ribbon cuttings for events as they open, and I said, I will never be bored of this. I will never not enjoy this, because we appreciate what everyone brings to our community so much.
Isn't that interesting? I mean, a lot of us, I think, took certain things for granted that now we go, just going out to eat at a restaurant is so delightful, going to see live music. So as we get higher up here and you can see, the hustle and bustle coming back and meetings coming back, I see you smiling. It feels good, doesn't it?
It feels great. It feels great. We've hosted over 100 events post-pandemic. That is more than any other destination really in the country. And again, we're blessed for that. But even more is the people that have come in have accomplished what they've said to do. There is pent-up demand for people to buy product. And so the exhibitors and the shows are getting tremendous return on investment. And that's what they're there to do. They're not there to glad hand. They're there to market and sell their products. And that's what we've seen time and time again, is the shows that have come and met said, we accomplished what we set for. And that's what we're there to do. We're helping them, give them great customer service, and help their industry propel forward.
I remember attending and covering one of the first events that came back, the Together Again Expo. And there were a lot of things that had been put in place. It was masks, it was social distancing, but there was something about just being in the same area with people who all wanted to be there and market and interact. There just is nothing like a face-to-face meeting. What was it like to bring one of those first?
I remember driving up that day, and there was cars and people walking into the facility. And of course, I've been at the facility with no one for months, and to see people coming in, it was so exciting. And that was a meeting for the convention industry. And so I had a lot of friends there that were coming in to see the new protocols. How do they do meetings safely? How do we do this a little bit different? And so to see our friends do it a little differently, we all wore masks, we fist bumped instead of hugging, it was tremendous. I remember walking most of the day, talking just about all the day, going home literally exhausted from that day, but an exhaustion of just satisfaction to the nth degree to be able to get back together.
It's almost like happy tears, but you're exhausted, but you're also exhilarated. I felt the way too, just not being able to really go out into the field and cover these hustling, bustling trade shows, which there's nothing like that energy.
There's not, and even better for me, running the facility is people coming up to me that I didn't know and saying, thank you for Orange County being a leader and to bringing us back and to help us figure this out. The people that are figuring out the protocols just weren't just us. It was people that were meeting all around the country. And that was great. We were all rooting for each other. we've all supported each other across the community in sharing information. What do you think about the GBAC Star accreditation? What are you doing in your facilities? What are the occupancy levels you're doing? That's the type of conversations that we've had. Because if we're open and everyone else is open, then it's good for our industry, it's good for our country, it's good for commerce.
You've been in the trade show industry for quite a while. Tell me a little bit about your background. I know you came from Austin, but it started before that, right?
So I'm second generation in the convention industry.
Okay.
My father, David Tester, ran convention and visitors bureaus, DMOs, like Visit Orlando, for a number of years, and then the last portion of his career, he ran conventions. And so I decided to follow in his footsteps. I spent 13 years actively involved in the Chicago convention community, first working for the organization now called Choose Chicago, which is the counterpart to Visit Orlando, out recruiting conventions to come and competing against Orlando on a number of occasions, successfully sometimes, unsuccessfully sometimes, competing against Orlando. And so I spent 13 years there, both working for Choose Chicago and the McCormick Place, the very large convention center.
I've been there. It's very impressive.
It's a big facility. And then in 2008, I moved to Austin to be the director of the convention center department in that growing city, and really enjoyed my time in Texas state capital as that town has exploded, but a much smaller facility than what we have here, about an eighth the size of what we have here.
But I have a really important question for you. Do you miss the barbecue?
I tell you, I found some good barbecue places.
I know,
right
there's a couple here, but I like.
Matter of fact, I found Brother Jimmy's, which is very close to my house, and is going to be opening in Icon Park really soon. I absolutely recommend the pulled pork with the Carolina sauce.
I love this. We're getting
fantastic.
barbecue recommendations.
It is fantastic.
I figured you were going to sit there and go, nothing like Texas barbecue.
We had a barbecue space right next to the convention center, and when I would walk in from where I parked my car right by it, and it smelled wonderful. But if you lingered in that area, your suit would smell like barbecue after a while. But no, there's a tremendous amount of great restaurants. I live, probably almost can see my house from this view up here, and right off Restaurant Row. So my wife and I can be at an Eddie V's or another great restaurant in 4 or 5 minutes.
That's amazing. And it's pretty cool to be able to see the beautiful facility that we have. I'm always so proud when I drive by, particularly the North-South building, because we work really close to there. And I remember the day that it opened and the lights went on and the clamshells, it is such a lovely place to be proud to really call home.
Yeah, it really is. And even prouder when there's events running and bustling. Last week we had a very large buying event in the hardware industry, and that event looked exactly like it always has. There was significant amount of pent-up interest to buy products. Their industry is doing well, and so that show was probably single digits down to where it was in 2019, and that was great. And it's great to see exhibitors sitting there writing orders. There's nothing for that a trade show guy like me likes better than to see commerce happening in your facility.
Yeah, a lot of us were really involved, unfortunately, in Zooms with meetings and things like that. But there is nothing that substitutes, whether it's the kids being in school or being face-to-face at trade shows. I mean, there really is no substitute.
When you're on a Zoom, you may see somebody you would say, I would like to meet that person, but you can't. And when you're at a trade show, when you're in a face-to-face setting, you say, hey, can I have a couple words? Can we go grab a cup of coffee? And those relationships that are fostered through that just can't be matched. The community that you have can't be matched. Trade shows and conventions are a community that get together for specific reasons. Those reasons are finding out challenges. And no, there is no more challenges in our country's history almost than right now. So how do we get through this? How do we solve problems in our respective industry? And that's made face-to-face meetings more important now than ever.
I sense a real enthusiasm and excitement and optimism with you today.
You know what? We've had 100 events, and we really started, recover. We have 42 events throughout the calendar year. 2022 looks as good as far as the number of events as we've ever had. And each industry, again, represents how their industry is doing, but there is a lot of pent-up demand. There are shows that haven't had their event for 2 years now. And so they're really desirous to get back together and to bring their products to market, to see their old friends, to make new ones. It's incredibly important to the commerce of our country.
Awesome. And so with that and that pent-up demand, knowing that that's there, it sounds like the outlook is very bright.
Certainly for Orange County and for Orlando. Because we were able to reopen, we showed the industry and a lot of our events that we could do it safely, even during the pandemic, with masks on, with hand sanitizers everywhere, with signs all around our facility promoting physical distance. We showed and proved that we can do that. And we were able to pick up 14 events this year that could not get that positive affirmation from their destination that they were there. And those events are rebooking for another year. So if they've never been here before, now they're coming back. They're part of the Orange County family, which is what we want. Orange County and Orlando has always had a tremendous reputation for cleanliness. We've got a world-class airport. Our theme parks have absolutely worldwide reputations for cleanliness. And we're an outdoor city. We're a city where you can go out and do things and be outside, which gives people a sense of comfort and safety. So from where we're positioned, we feel as good as any destination in the country.
We have so much to offer here, and even great barbecue, thanks to you and your recommendations. We really appreciate you being here and offering your perspective in this amazing perspective. 400 feet in the air. Truly an iconic interview, Mark Tester, Executive Director of the Orange County Convention Center. Thank you so much for joining us as well for this amazing perspective. And please join us next time.